lot of people have told me, they're very uncomfortable because you have a child basically either drowning in water, or you think about the old adage, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Your Daughter is in Good Hands is the title of Chamainist artist Shannon Peck's exhibit in Duncan. Shannon aims to relay her own adoptive story and reach others who share her experience.
The work at the exhibit is a story about my adoption history, and it walks people through my experience as an adoptee from being relinquished at birth, 10 days old, through to when I began to search for my birth mother and the feelings around that, the feelings I had around being rejected at birth, and coming to terms eventually, 47 years later, with all those feelings and the emotions that surround that. These pieces are representative of the life cycle of a baby coming into conception. And for me, this kind of was a representation of the circumstances that unwed mothers were in.
I am absolutely amazed. This is really a social statement through the lens of art. It educates, it inspires, it touches so many people's hearts.
I go home emotionally just really exhausted because people walk through, and mostly women who are walking through, and they're crying, like just tears rolling down their face, and they come over and give me a big hug, and they just want to share, whether it's pain they have from something else, but there's something in the exhibit that's triggering a really strong emotional response in people, and more than I even anticipated.
Shannon is so incredibly open about sharing her story, and it's been just really amazing.
As an artist, I really actually was drawn to the word incident, not just because it's a very strong word and you're referring to a child as an incident, but as an artist, that word provides a lot of artistic fodder. I really would like people to have an understanding of what it was like for unwed mothers in the era, probably from the 40s to the late 70s, when they had really no choice but to relinquish their child. And as an adoptee, we often feel that sense of rejection because your birth mother left you at the hospital, but they had no other choice. My birth father's a total unknown. His name's not on my birth certificate. My birth mother, I found her identity about 2 years ago. I did reach out to her last fall just by registered mail. I don't want to show up at her door or call her because her family's not aware about my birth. Every step of the journey, every piece that I worked on, depending what piece it was, I was thinking about my birth mother. I was thinking about her family, thinking about my adoptive family. It brought me to terms with my birth identity, and I was able to finally bring the two together and just be comfortable with myself. I've had a great life with a lovely family, but that's not the point. The point is understanding the social consequences that came from kind of that social experiment where they felt like women who were unwed didn't have a right to keep their children.
Art can be a very powerful tool for social statements and to educate and to draw out people's opinions and emotions.
I'm drawn to focus on things that have to do with identity, whether it's my identity or someone else. I've done pieces on sexuality, women's rights or women's reproductive rights, but it all tends to come back around to, I think, the fact that I was adopted.
Shannon's exhibit makes us reflect on this very important social issue. For Community Producers, I'm Kelsey Swark.